गुड इवनिंग देवी और सज्जनों, थेम स्पीक्स के आज के इस कार्यक्रम में आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। थेम स्पीक्स में हम हमेशा थर्सडे शाम को उन सारी घटनाओं, चर्चाओं, गॉसिप्स, उन सारी चीज़ों के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं जिन्होंने सिविलाइजेशन को इस मुकाम पर पहुंचाने में बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले किया। थेम स्पीक्स के आज के इस कार्यक्रम में मैं मेरे आज के गेस्ट से आपका इंट्रोडक्शन कराऊं, उससे पहले ये ज़रूर कहना चाहूँगा कि दुनिया में अलग अलग तरह के लोग हैं। कुछ लोग बड़ी पिक्चर को हमेशा देखते हैं और कुछ लोग हमेशा उस बड़ी पिक्चर के एक छोटे से पार्ट पिक्सल को देखते हैं। जब हम इन बड़ी चीज़ों को देखते हैं या फिर छोटे पार्ट के पिक्सल्स को देखते हैं तो हम कभी कभी भूल जाते हैं कि दोनों के अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा सामंजस्य है। आज उस सामंजस्य के बारे में बात करने के लिए आज हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर संगीता शाही। पेशे से वो डॉक्टर हैं जिन्होंने यहाँ से मेडिसिन किया, मेडिसिनल प्रैक्टिशनर हैं, पर इसके अलावा उन्होंने ट्रेडिशनल चाइनीज़ मेडिसिन को पढ़ा, उन्होंने आयुर्वेदा को पढ़ा। इसके अलावा कहते हैं कि एक नई अप्रोच के साथ इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर आई है। वेलकम डॉक्टर संगीता।
Thank you, Harendra ji. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be here today, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. So when I was discussing about you, I would like to tell my audience that you are not only a medicine practitioner. You also studied Chinese traditional medicine system. You also studied Ayurveda, and apart from this, you're also thinking about what is a spiritual aspect of healing. What are the other aspects when a body can respond to different diseases? Maybe there may be different methods. So जिन चीज़ों का हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं वो मैं इस चीज़ को डिस्कस करने जा रहा हूँ कि सबसे पहले आई थिंक ऑडियंस ये जानना चाहती है कि आपकी जर्नी कैसी रही। आपकी जर्नी से मतलब खुद की स्टडीज़ कहाँ रही, फिर ऐसा क्या हुआ कि सिर्फ मेडिसिनल प्रैक्टिस के साथ साथ आपने जो दूसरे फील्ड्स में एक साथ आपने कहीं चूज किए जो नॉर्मल ट्रेडिशन या लीग से हटके, ऐसा क्यों हुआ?
Okay, Harendra ji, I come from 4 generations of medical doctors. Pre-partition, my great-grandfather, he was a very well-known homeopathic doctor in Lahore, and he actually wrote 12 volumes of books in Urdu about homeopathy, lifestyle, nutrition, and culture. And in those days where there was no internet, where there was no social media, he was handwriting newsletters and sending them to his patients, and he was making his own remedies. And then post-partition, my grandparents, they migrated to Delhi, and they had the first private hospital in Delhi and in 1952. And then after that, my parents, both doctors, and then it came to me. My very deep interest was actually in the origin of disease rather than just the symptomatic relief. Because I knew that there was, whatever I had studied and learnt in med school was very incomplete. There was aspects of nutrition that we never discussed, there was aspects of lifestyle, there were aspects of culture, there were aspects of the mind and how the mind and the body interact with each other, and also the effect of the environment and the climate. And when I started looking deeper and deeper, it led me actually to spirituality and the mind-body system, and it led me to quantum physics, because quantum physics was the only scientific approach that was looking at the universe and at people from a more bigger, larger picture and overview, rather than just a very microcosmic linear overview, which is what our linear mainstream Newtonian physics looks at. So I worked with quantum physicists in the US, I worked with biophysicists in the UK. I grew up in the UK in London, but I've worked and studied in many different countries, and when I was in the US I was also exposed to shamanism. Shamanism is a lot to do with healing based around nature, the environment, and herbs and plant medicines. And they have their own specific rituals within that system, which they then incorporate into a system of healing and also a system of prophesizing and being able to go beyond this physical realm into other realms. So that was one part. And then I got involved with yoga. I became a Kundalini yoga teacher. Again, I studied that with Yogi Bhajan, who was a very dear and amazing expert in the field of Kundalini yoga. And he came from the Sikh traditions. So I studied that part, and then everything led me back actually to Ayurveda, which is more than 5,000 years old. And within this system of truly holistic medicine and healing, Ayurveda, I've found, encompasses everything. It encompasses the whole esoteric chakra system of energy medicine. It encompasses culture, it encompasses lifestyle, it encompasses nutrition, it encompasses yoga, it encompasses even our thought and how our thoughts affect our diseases and the physical and the mental aspects. So I found Ayurveda to be the most comprehensive teachings on health and healing and also culture. So that's a little bit about my journey.
When I was just listening to your journey, and I'm sure my audience is also enjoying, especially this part, from the scientific, the modern science, to different type of religions, yoga, Kundalini, finally Ayurveda. Even probably you didn't mention you have also done MBA from one prestigious university. So I think that's a journey, and you have basically you basically did an amazing job in different sectors. And today I'm just discussing, especially I would just keep thinking when you mentioned that when there's any disease or any chronic disease, it's not just one way solution for that particular problem, or there should not be just only tunnel vision for that particular disease. We should have a holistic approach. We should, like, let me just tell you about an example about diabetes. A lot of millions of people, they are suffering from diabetes at the moment. When we will go to doctors, they will give us metformin, and people will consume regularly. But there are different aspects. Especially one of the beautiful sentence which you mentioned is कि body और mind में continuous एक conversation होता है. I think बहुत सारे लोग इस चीज़ को मिस करते हैं कि body और mind कैसे आपस में communicate करते होंगे, या उसका क्या effect होता होगा. I'm just intrigued. Let's take this case study about diabetes, like how people think about it. What type of solution normally modern science offers, what type of solutions Ayurveda offers, and holistically, if one particular problem can be solved through various aspects. So, जब आप actual doctor होते हैं, तो आप उन सारे different aspects को अपने audience को कैसे दिखा सकते हैं?
Beautiful, thank you for the question. Harendra ji, I will tell you a little bit about the human system.
Yeah.
Now, every single human being, and we're aware of it, but we forget, every single human being is unique. It's a unique ansh of Paramatma, and within that ansh, we have so many facets, so many parts of us, our personalities, our likes, dislikes, our habits, our behavior patterns, our thoughts, and our genetic inherited patterns from our ancestors, as well as from our culture, and also what we've been exposed to in the culture and in the environment that we live in. So imagine this humongous diversity of factors which go into make us who we are. And this is just the surface I am touching. When we go even deeper than that, within our genetics, there is the physical genetics, there is the mental genetics, there is the inherited, there is our own past lives and karmas. It's a highly complex system. Now, one of the things that I always come back to, which is really important, is our body is supremely intelligent. It knows far, far more than we think it knows, because it's designed inherently to understand and to receive information from our environment, from the present moment, as well as from our subconscious mind, as well as from our other layers of the mind, as well as from intellectual studies. So it gathers all this data, it filters it, and then it understands what is available to it in terms of food, in terms of lifestyle, and in terms of climate and weather. So all of these things, and personality, because now energy has become a very, very important factor for people's health. People are looking and seeing where are they comfortable, where do they feel positive, where do they feel negative, where do they feel like the energy is comfortable and enhancing for them, and where do they feel depleted. So all of these things put together, when you get involved, when you start talking about a disease such as diabetes, diabetes is a chronic cumulative expression, manifestation of all of these complex factors. So the first thing that we look at is when somebody, a patient comes to me or a client comes to me with diabetes, the first thing I will look at is, first of all, their lifestyle, their nutrition, and their culture. The culture, I found, is the most important factor now that we are looking at in terms of helping people to shift their mindsets and to shift their behavior and lifestyle patterns, because ultimately that is what is required if you want to allow and create this incredible environment for our bodies to heal themselves. In holistic medicine, what we are really doing is facilitating the body's own natural healing capacities and abilities. We are supporting the body by creating the best environment and support systems for the body to energize, regenerate. It's really about regeneration and rejuvenation. And we have enough within our system to make that and to facilitate that to happen. No cell in our body is older than 7 years old, Harendraji. 7 years old, which means that we are age-wise, biological age-wise, not older than 7. So it's the reproducing programs, software programs within our cells, which keep reproducing, that actually also create the chronic disease patterns and the aging patterns within our system. And that's the work that I'm focusing on. Ultimately, it's longevity. Ultimately, it's life enhancing. But this is the route that I use.
I was amazed, like when, as I said earlier, when we discuss with doctors, they will just tell us that you have to take this medicine, and they will not discuss anything in detail. But when we look at Chinese medicinal methods, maybe traditional Ayurveda system, maybe spiritual system, we will discuss about this later, and the modern science, when we put all these things together with our lifestyle, with our culture, with our DNA, I think it makes definitely a sense. And I think this is how maybe in future few countries, they are progressing, and I know unfortunately UK is not doing enough about it. We will discuss about this later. But there's one more question about, apart from all these things, you're also running a Unified Human Foundation, isn't it? And I just want to know, what is the aim of this Unified Human Foundation? What type of projects are you doing with this, and how it will benefit all these laymen or common people in this modern era?
Okay, so I had done a lot of work, Harendraji, with NGOs.
Yeah.
NGOs in Northern America, NGOs in India, NGOs in Africa. And I wanted to create a structure through which I could continue to work with these NGOs. And because of my work with NGOs in health, I had also been exposed to a lot of different cultures, a lot of diversity, and a lot of different lifestyles. So I founded the Unified Human Foundation. We are in the UK, we are a non-profit in the US, and we are being registered now in India too. And our goal, our objective is to unify human beings with nature. And then through those projects, we support initiatives which unify human beings with nature, and through those projects, with each other. So the projects that we really focus on are related to the environment. We work on 3 platforms, Harendraji. One is clean technologies, so clean air, clean water, waste management, recycling, aquaculture. The second platform is health, where we look at more natural-based solutions for health problems. So one of the things that we look at constantly is environmental influences on health, and also mental health issues now, because it's a big upcoming issue that mental health is being influenced by climate change. The third platform we look at is community and cultural regeneration. And that's the educational platform. It's also it's one of my passions, my core passions, where we've created a summit which is on the educational platform called Mothership Earth Summit. This summit was actually kind of around a lot of the teachings of Sri Aurobindo and Mira Alfaza, the mother, his spiritual partner. This year actually, we launched the summit virtually. Mothership Earth Summit brings together all the threads connected up with Unified Human Foundation. So this year we had evolutionary biologists, anthropologists, biomimicry, spiritual teachers, doctors, yoga specialists, integral health specialists come together and talk, and also cosmologists, the effect of planetary and solar system changes on our planet and how that is affecting climate change. So we brought together all these experts. Some of them were my colleagues, other people were experts in their own fields that I had been closely connected with. And next year we're doing a physical hybrid summit which will be live streamed and also physically in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We had the great good fortune. I reached out to the government of Gujarat to see if they would be interested in the Mothership Earth Summit, and I explained to them and shared with them the concept. And the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Bhupendraji, he wrote back, and immediately it was such a delight. He wrote back and he said, "We love this project. We would love to have you come and do it in Ahmedabad." So we will be doing this summit now in Ahmedabad in March 22nd to 24th, 2024. And we will be bringing together, again, cosmologists, spiritual teachers, as well as integral health, because the theme of this summit is global wellness, planet Earth and humanity thriving together. So we're bringing together agricultural specialists, we're bringing together integral health people, we're bringing together integral architecture, Vastu. We're bringing together people. It's an international summit, so there will be experts from the US, from Europe, from Asia, as well as our own very, very important people in India. We'll also be doing one day where we will be having corporates working in clean tech coming in and speaking about their innovations and what they are doing and how it's helping to alleviate carbon emissions, alleviate and create more sustainable and renewable energy systems. And we will be bringing in women-led businesses. So it actually tick marks many, many boxes.
So I can see this is also a holistic approach towards overall development. It's not just about human health, it's also about human life, it's also about civilization, it's also about business, and maybe all those different fields which you mentioned. I was just thinking that how many people will be benefit from this, and maybe people will start, they will come out of their normal black box. They will start thinking, they will just look at the horizon and they will see the sky is blue. Now, my next question is, apart from this, I think you're also running a mentoring program. Tell me about what type of mentoring program are you running and how it is helping people, and especially younger generation in this modern world.
Okay, so Harendraji, I had also done an MBA from ESSEC Business School in Paris, and ESSEC has actually international campuses all over globally, and I've been teaching since I left med school. So I've been teaching about mind-body medicine, I've been teaching about meditation, I've been teaching about holistic health and wellness right from the beginning of my career, including some of the scientific aspects of it. So I started getting students who were business people, CEOs of their own companies, influencers, coming and saying that they wanted to learn from me, they wanted me to mentor them. So my website is called genuinehumanbeing.com. So through that mentorship program, I created a program called Mentorship for Genuine Leaders. And the genuine part came up with, we wanted to have real values in leadership, in businesses, in organizations, in corporates and companies, etc. And the values we're talking about are more kind of regarded as softer values, more human-oriented values. So that, and I started this program way before we started talking about it mainstream. So this was quite a few years ago, and the program was so successful that we took it into organizations and started working with teams, and it's modified, it's a customized program according to the business, according to the needs of the organization and the individuals. So we added on sustainability, we added on regeneration components, because there were certain companies and organizations that needed to transition from the normal pyramidal leadership structure, hierarchical structure, into the more holistic, more rounded, all-encompassing leadership structures. And they didn't know how to make those transitions successfully. So this mentorship program became very relevant. And the other aspect of it, which again was organic, it was not something that I strategically planned for. Most of my work, Harendraji, has been organic. Younger people started coming to me and saying, look, we cannot fit into these traditional structures. They don't make sense to us. The way that we think, the way that we operate, how we look at technology, it's different from what already exists. Can you help us to adapt, to be able to bring in our skill sets, and also to be able to understand and communicate with the existing structures? So this became an incredibly beautiful organic organism of adaptation, flexibility, and diversity and inclusivity. So all these, as well as obviously gender inclusivity, all of these things became incorporated within the mentorship program for genuine leaders.
One thing which I really liked from this recent conversation is that the transformation of a company or transformation of a leadership style, where people normally, the hierarchical order, they will move from that, they will shift from that particular model to a different model, because they can see there's a huge potential in future when they go to a different type of model. We will discuss about this. I have a lot of questions, but we will take a break. I'm sure my audience, they are enjoying this program, and especially the holistic approach of Dr. Sangeeta Sahi. So let's take a break and we will be right back.
Brexit comes new laws and changes. Make sure you have the right help to navigate your way through. GLS Solicitors is led by award-winning solicitor Harendra Singh Jodha. GLS Solicitors, when the experts need an expert.
No drama, no exaggeration, just the truth. A complete news bulletin. MATV brings you Darshan News at 7 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. News the way it should be.
वेलकम बैक टू द शो। हम इस चीज़ पर चर्चा कर रहे थे कि मेंटरिंग प्रोग्राम्स कैसे होते हैं, हमारी जो हेल्थ है उसके लिए हॉलिस्टिक अप्रोच कैसी होती है। एंड वी आर लकी कि आज हमारे साथ जो हमारे बेहतरीन गेस्ट हैं डॉक्टर संगीता साही, शी इज़ विद अस, जिन्होंने बड़े डिटेल में बड़ी नफासत से उन सारी चीज़ों को डिस्कस किया। वेलकम बैक टू द शो डॉक्टर संगीता।
थैंक यू हरिंदर जी।
Thank you. My next question means it's just in the continuation what we were discussing earlier. My next question is very much related with what we have discussed so far. It's not just about health, it's about mental health. Recently I have seen a lot of words: meditation, yoga, Kundalini yoga, mindfulness, and a lot of words about, it's not only just from NHS, it's also from different medicinal websites, or I can say those things which are discussing about human health. Mental health issue क्या है, how much it is relevant in modern world, especially in the corporate as well, in the business field also, and how it affects everything on this planet at the moment.
Thank you. I just would like to take you one little step back.
Okay.
And before we just discuss mental health, because we have the mental body, it's literally a structure within our anatomy, and beyond the mental body is the spiritual body.
Yeah.
Now the spiritual body is connected up with things that we cannot even imagine, okay, with influences, with factors, whether they are physical or non-physical or energetic, or even the interface is electromagnetic fields, which is something that quantum physics talks about a lot. So within this interface in the spiritual realms, the mental, it is the management operating system. So it allows us, it facilitates the management between the non-physical and the physical. So when things within the environment change, things within the organization, things within people's jobs, things within people's financial situations, their homes, etc. change, this immediately creates an emotional and then a mental influence and shift. Now, if our system, our whole system, is not able to adapt and be flexible to be able to manage it and incorporate the changes into our system gracefully and smoothly, then the mental level starts to get affected, and starts to signal and respond in a way where it comes up as depression or irritation or actually more than anything else in mental health right now is depression. That's the first sign. So withdrawal, antisocial behaviors, addictions, all of these things come up because the human being is trying to manage all these changes, and it's not flexible, or as in yoga we talk about plastic enough to be able to change.
As I said, I completely agree what you mentioned. I also feel that at the moment, I think mindfulness, yoga and other things are helping in terms of mental health. A lot of companies, they're offering a lot of different type of courses. A lot of companies, they're sending their employees to these courses. And I think finally you will agree that these courses definitely they increase the productivity of the employees, productivity and maybe financial strength of the company as well. So I think when you were discussing in the beginning that when there is any disease, when there is any symptom, it may be physical or it may be mental, we should not just have a tunnel vision. We should not just look at these problems from just one side. We should have a holistic approach. My next question is about when you were discussing about these things, I thought that every human being has got few dreams. ऐसा कहते हैं कि अगर प्यास ही बुझ गई होती तो फिर जिंदगी ना होती. So डिफरेंट स्टेजेस जब अपनी लाइफ में हमने अलग अलग हमारे जो सपने हैं हमने उन सपनों को पूरा किया, लेकिन जब उन सपनों को पूरा किया तो हमें लगे कि हमारी जिंदगी में कुछ नए सपने, ऐसे कोई थॉट्स हैं, ऐसी कोई चेकलिस्ट है. इट्स नॉट अबाउट जस्ट अबाउट प्रोफेशन, इट्स अबाउट पैशन. और मुझे लगता है कि आदमी, ह्यूमन बीइंग हमेशा पैशन से ड्रिवन होता है. आपको ऐसा लाइफ में लगा कि बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो आपके पैशन से ड्रिवन है और आपकी चेकलिस्ट में है कि मुझे नेक्स्ट 2 इयर्स में, 5 इयर्स में, 7 इयर्स में ये सारे काम करने चाहिए, क्योंकि इट्स पैशन. आप उसमें ये नहीं देख रहे कि उससे आपको क्या प्रॉफिट है, क्या लॉस है, या फाइनेंशियली या सोशली आप उससे क्या गेन या लॉस करेंगे. आपको सिर्फ इतना है कि यू आर डूइंग बिकॉज यू रियली वांट टू डू इट. तो ऐसी कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो मेरे से आप और दर्शकों से आप शेयर करेंगे.
हरेंद्र जी, मैं आपको सच्ची बात बताऊं तो माई होल लाइफ इज बिन लिव्ड लाइक दैट. I was very fortunate that I had wonderfully understanding parents, and they allowed me to pursue my passion. So imagine qualifying as a medical doctor and then wanting to explore quantum physics, wanting to explore spirituality, wanting to explore different facets of life and culture. So I was very fortunate that throughout my life it's been a passion journey. Whatever has interested me, I have followed it and really studied it and researched it properly, not just superficially, and then been able to connect up the different threads, and all the interconnections then came into place. So what I would tell, and really, because I worked with a lot of people, from thousands of people with cancer, okay, and immune system problems. And through that work, and it was people in different countries, different cultures, different lifestyles, and through that work I created a program called Conscious Cancer. It's a 13-step program that addresses every aspect of a person's life, the person who is experiencing cancer. So right from relationships to food, to chemotherapy, to herbal medicines, to Ayurveda, to all the aspects. And the 13th step is purpose.
Yeah.
Once a person has come through the main part of cancer, then most people that I studied, they went into a phase of life where they just wanted to live their purpose. They wanted to serve society, serve their communities, because that is what gave them fulfillment. So it was like for them being reborn. It was a second innings, another life that they could then use what they had experienced to help others. And now we are coming into a phase of human societal history where more and more people, without having to go through any disease or crisis, they are feeling that they want to live their purpose rather than even wasting time with going through the other things in life. They're already there. And I see that more and more in the younger generations. They are sort of designed, they've come in with, just like I did, that plug in, that we want to plug into what we are here to do. What we are here to do gives us energy, gives us fulfillment, gives us passion, energizes us. And of course, through that passion, as well, you know, Harendraji, that when you have that, automatically society, the universe, Kainat, source, everything comes in to support you. Especially if you do it in a way that is truly benefiting and serving rather than just pretending, because some people also want to look good. But when it really comes from the Atma, from the soul level, it all manifests and comes together, the support system.
जो आपने कहा, मैं ऑनेस्टली कहूँगा आपको कि शायद मैं हर वर्ड से एग्री करता हूँ। पॉलो कॉलन एक बहुत अच्छी बुक लिखी, उसका नाम है द अल्केमिस्ट। अल्केमिस्ट में उन्होंने, मैं कह सकता हूँ कि बेहतरीन किताब है, और उस किताब का एक जो डायलॉग है, उसको इंग्लिश डायलॉग को जब उन्होंने उर्दू में कन्वर्ट किया तो वो बाद में एक मूवी में काम आया कि आप जिस किसी चीज़ को शिद्दत से चाहते हो तो कायनात का ज़र्रा ज़र्रा आपको उससे मिलाने की साजिशें रचता है। एक्चुअली में उस इंग्लिश बुक का एक डायलॉग है जिसको उर्दू में उन्होंने कन्वर्ट किया। उस बुक पे एक बेहतरीन चीज़ ये थी कि एक बच्चा है, जब उस एक बड़े पैलेस को देखने गया, बहुत बड़े महल को जो अमेजिंग था, तो उसको वहाँ अंदर एंटर होने से पहले उसको एक स्पून दे दिया जिसमें ऑयल भर दिया। ऑयल भर के उसको कहा कि ठीक है, मेक श्योर कि इस ऑयल की एक भी ड्रॉप अंदर ना गिरे। वो पूरा महल देख कर आ गया। जब बाहर आया तो उससे पूछा कि क्या देखा, तो उसने कहा कि मैंने कुछ नहीं देखा। उसका सारा अटेंशन उस ऑयल पे था जो चम्मच में भरा हुआ था, स्पून में भरा हुआ था। उसका अटेंशन वहाँ होने से उसे ये रियलाइज हुआ कि दुनिया में या अपने आसपास जो खूबसूरत दुनिया है उसे देखने का लोगों के पास समय नहीं। हमारे पास जो एक छोटा सा ऑयल है खुद का, हम उस पर इतना फोकस्ड है कि आसपास जो खूबसूरती है दुनिया की उसे हम भूले जा रहे हैं। अपना जो जिंदगी है, जो अलग अलग मोड़ से, अलग अलग मुकामों से गुजर रही है, हम उसे भूल रहे हैं। सो जब आपने ये कहा कि लोगों का अलग अलग तरह का जो बिहेवियर है, जो उनका व्यवहार है, वो किस तरह से होना चाहिए, या फिर हमारी आत्मा जिस चीज़ को करना चाहती है तो उससे सारी एनर्जी हमें उस चीज़ को करवाने में हेल्प करती है। और इस चीज़ से मैं बहुत एग्री करता हूँ, क्योंकि मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि लोग काम करना नहीं चाहते, आत्मा से नहीं करना चाहते, वो सिर्फ प्रिटेंड करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि ऐसा प्रिटेंड करने से रिलेटिव्स, फ्रेंड्स और सोशल मीडिया के जो फॉलोअर्स हैं उनमें ऐसा इंप्रेशन जाएगा कि यू आर रियली डूइंग दिस अमेजिंग जॉब। सो आप काम करना नहीं चाहते, आप सिर्फ काम करते हुए दिखाना चाहते हैं। उसमें वो एक कुछ क्षणों का एक हो सकता है, एक मोमेंट हो सकता है, बट ये उसमें कोई ईश्वरी सत्ता आपकी उसमें सहायता करे ऐसा कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है। मैं उससे बहुत ज़बरदस्त तरीके से आपसे एग्री करता हूँ जो आपने मुझे कहा। मैं जब बुक की बात कर रहा था तो शायद ये सवाल बहुत लाजिमी है। मैं हमेशा हर दर्शक से ही पूछता हूँ कि व्हाट्स योर फेवरेट बुक, वो फेवरेट बुक क्यों है, उसका क्या रीज़न है। और उसका कारण ये है कि हर आदमी की चॉइस कुछ भी हो सकती है, पर ऑडियंस को हमेशा अच्छा लगता है कि कोई साइंस का जो डॉक्टर है वो हो सकता है कि आर्ट और कल्चर की किसी बुक को पसंद करे, क्योंकि वो काम कुछ और कर रहा है, पर वो भी एक मनुष्य है, उसके अंदर भी एक आत्मा का वास है और उसकी खुद की कुछ इच्छाएं हैं। सो मैं उस सवाल पे भी वापस आऊँगा कि अपनी खुद की भी ज़िंदगी की क्या इच्छाएं हैं। आपने एक दो चीज़ें शेयर की, लेकिन उससे पहले मैं चाहूँगा कि आप बताएं कि कौन सी बुक आपको पसंद है और क्यों पसंद है।
Okay, I will share that with you. लेकिन उससे पहले I just want to add one little thing. The top level dimension we say in quantum physics of every field is creativity. Whether it's science, Einstein reached the top by connecting up with things that he said he had no idea, imagination. And through that he could bring through new theories, new logics. Now, in every field, whether it's artists or whether it's musicians, whether it's scientists, whether it's doctors, wherever it is, I have met so many doctors who are poets, who are painters, who are musicians, who are singers. So we are more than just, it's not just about being human, it's also a level that your consciousness reaches, by which you can then access that within yourself, within your Atma. My favorite book.
ऐड कर देता हूँ.
Yes.
मुझे कई बार ऐसा लगता है कि इंसान जो है, जो दिखता है या जिस तरह से वो रहता है, उसके अंदर कई लेयर्स हैं.
Yes.
और टाइम आने पर ही वो उन लेयर्स को, जैसे ऑनियन की लेयर्स नहीं होती, वैसे उनको रिमूव करके अपने अंदर की एक नई पर्सनालिटी को लोगों के सामने रखता है. और हर इंसान के अंदर बहुत सारे अलग अलग तरह के इंसान हैं, और ये शायद इंसान के पास ही ऐसी कैपेबिलिटी है कि वो अपनी अलग अलग पर्सनैलिटीज को अलग अलग टाइम पर अलग अलग लोगों के सामने पेश कर सकता है. सो जब आपने कहा कि डॉक्टर्स हैं वो बहुत अच्छे पोएट हैं, तो मैं ऐसा ही सोच रहा था कि एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप का इंसान जिन्होंने एक तरह की ट्रेनिंग ली, लेकिन उनकी आत्मा को सुख कहीं और मिलता है, उनकी आत्मा को सुख कुछ और चीज़ों को करने में मिलता है. मैं पिछले हफ्ते किसी कार्यक्रम में गया, वह उस कार्यक्रम में मैंने एक जबरदस्त फोक डांस देखा, मतलब अल्टीमेट फोक डांस, जिसके अंदर आप इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते कि कोई मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में ऐसा फोक डांस लोग करते होंगे. जब मैंने उनका फोक डांस देखा, देख के परफॉर्मर्स हस्बैंड वाइफ थे, वो मेरे पास आकर बैठे, मैंने उनसे बातें की काफ़ी देर, तो मुझे पता चला हस्बैंड वाइफ दोनों बहुत फेमस सर्जन्स हैं. और मैं बहुत सरप्राइज हुआ, और मैं इस चीज़ से भी सरप्राइज हुआ कि उनकी एज अराउंड 60 to 65 के बीच थी. वो इस 60-65 की एज में जिस तरह से, जिस एनर्जी से उन्होंने डांस किया, तो मुझे लगा कि ये उनका जो अंदर का जो ट्रू स्पिरिट है, उसको उस जीने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. सो मैं जब आपसे डिस्कस कर रहा था, तो ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा था कि लोग प्रिटेंड करने के लिए बहुत सारी जिंदगियां जी सकते हैं, पर जो उनका अंदर का जो ट्रू पर्सनालिटी है, उसको जीने में शायद लोग हिचकिचाते हैं, उन अपने ऊपर बहुत सारे पर्दे रखते हैं, क्योंकि वो उस ट्रू पर्सनालिटी को बाहर नहीं आने देना चाहते. खैर, मेरा सवाल वहीं खड़ा है, और वो है कि आपकी फेमस किताब कौन सी है?
हरिंदर जी, I learned flamenco, I learned Odissi because of exactly this. It was such an expression that I needed to bring out. Okay, so my favorite book, I have read many books. I have truly, my mother will laugh if she watches this interview. But I would say Mahabharata is a book that has had a great influence on me. Why? Because every facet of human nature and technology and science fiction and civilization and culture and emotion, every aspect of that is within that book. And you can read that book once, you can read it again, each time you read it, you will get something different from it. And the story itself is absolutely fascinating. It's got cloning, it's got superhuman technologies, it's got so much that feeds the imagination, as well as the base human nature. And it's got our planetary influences. And of course it has Lord Krishna. So there you go.
I completely agree with you, because I think there's a Mahabharata going on in our heart, in our mind and soul, yes, all the time, between right and wrong, between good and bad, between positive and negatives, and we are witnessing these Mahabharats all the time. A lot of people, those who came to my program, they always mention we love Ramcharitmanas, Ramayana or Gita or thousands of books, but very rarely people mention that I love Mahabharata, because they are facing Mahabharata in each and every stage of their life. So probably they are thinking we are basically living in the era of Mahabharata, so it's just normal for us. But I love this idea. You also mentioned one word, it's called flamingo. There's a word, it's called kurja, that's associated with flamingo in India.
Okay.
Flamingo is just ये एक ऐसा पक्षी है, बर्ड है, जो thousands of miles से travel करके आता है. You will not believe, especially in Rajasthan, in desert part, flamingo will travel from thousands of miles and they will live in Rajasthan for few months, and then they will travel back. It's a annual ritual in many places in Rajasthan, and you will find millions of flamingos. So in Rajasthani culture, flamingo means kurja. इनके ऊपर हजारों गाने बने हैं. अभी से नहीं, हिस्टोरिकली इस पर गाने बने हैं. और वो जो गाने बने हैं, वो मोस्टली गाने इस चीज़ पे बने हैं कि पहले लोग, हस्बैंड्स या उनके फैमिली के जो मेल मेंबर्स थे, वो अर्निंग करने के लिए, वॉर के लिए बाहर चले जाते थे, तो उनकी जो वाइफ्स या फैमिली में रहती थी, तो वो हमेशा उनका वेट करती थी. तो वो इसको इस तरह से फ्लेमिंगो को कहते थे कि मैं तुम्हारी चोंच पे मैं एक मैसेज लिख के देती हूँ, तुम मेरे हस्बैंड को जाकर देना कि तुम्हारी जो प्रेयसी है, जो तुम्हारी प्रेमिका है, जो तुम्हारी पत्नी है, वो घर पर तुम्हारा इंतजार कर रही है. और वो सब फ्लेमिंगो के बेस गाने हैं. मीन्स यदि आप गूगल पे करेंगे, आपको लगेगा एक गाना, उसका नाम है कुर्जा. कुर्जा मीन्स फ्लेमिंगो, और वो इसका रीज़न है. सेकंड, फ्लेमिंगो मुझे अच्छा वर्ड लगा, उसका एक बहुत अच्छा रीज़न है. 2000 years ago, राजस्थान और पंजाब बॉर्डर से हजारों लोग माइग्रेट हुए. वो वहाँ से ईरान गए, ईरान से वो यूरोप में आए, यूरोप में वो हर जगह फैले, जिनको आजकल रोमा या रोमा जिप्सीज कहा जाता है.
बिल्कुल.
उनके कपड़े, उनकी बोलचाल, उनका रहन सहन ठीक वैसा ही है जो यूरोप में या बाकी जगह जो म्यूजिक है उसमें उनका बड़ा रोल है. रिसेंटली महाराजा ऑफ जोधपुर ने एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम शुरू किया. इट्स ऑन इन द फोर्ट ऑफ जोधपुर. बहुत ह्यूज और हाई लेवल का प्रोग्राम है. डिफरेंट कल्चर से इन सारे जिप्सीज को या इन सारे परफॉर्मर्स को बुलाते हैं. यू विल नॉट बिलीव, वर्डिंग्स आर डिफरेंट बट म्यूजिक इज सेम, एंड दैट फेस्टिवल इज नोन एज अ फ्लेमिंगो फेस्टिवल.
ब्यूटीफुल.
सो जब आपने ये दोनों वर्ड बोले तो मैं अपने आप को रोक नहीं पाया उस लाइफ की होलिस्टिक अप्रोच में कि फ्लेमिंगो का मीनिंग क्या है और फ्लेमिंगो कितना पॉपुलर है.
I would like to add one
बिल्कुल.
thing to this. You know, India is actually the origin of probably most of the world's cultures. It is the only country or subcontinent in the world that still has active pre-Bronze Age communities living actively. Today, no other country can claim this.
One of the famous poet, he wrote, यूनान और मिस्र और रोमा सब मिट गए जहाँ से, अब तक मगर है बाकी नामो निशा हमारा. कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारा, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जमा हमारा. So you're absolutely right. हड़प्पा, मोहनजोदाड़ो,
Yes.
लोथल, उन सिविलाइजेशंस के लोग आज उन्हीं जगहों पर या आसपास के जगहों पर उसी सिविलाइजेशन को कंटिन्यू करते हुए रह रहे हैं. दैट्स एन अमेजिंग फैक्ट विदाउट एनी ह्यूज चेंज. सो किसी सिविलाइजेशन को कंटिन्यूस रन करने के लिए जो सबसे बड़ी जरूरत है, इट्स नॉट अबाउट जस्ट स्ट्रेंथ और पॉपुलेशन, इट्स अबाउट adaptability and flexibility.
Exactly.
And when we started the program, we were discussing about the medicine, but the way you took this same medicine profession towards Chinese traditions or Ayurveda or spirituality or Kundalini, that's a special adaptation. So I can link in this way कि जब हम चीज़ों को नई चीज़ों से लिंक करते हैं या फिर वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट विच यू मेंशन कि जब हम हमारी उस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड में क्रिएटिविटी को जब हम एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, दैट्स द पिनेकल। और शायद आप किसी भी फील्ड में, चाहे आप क्लीनिंग करें या फिर आप आइंस्टाइन की तरह साइंटिस्ट हो, द मोमेंट व्हेन यू स्टार्ट योर क्रिएटिविटी वर्क, आप उसमें बहुत ऊंचे लेवल पर हैं। सो जो मेरा नेक्स्ट सवाल है आपसे, बहुत छोटा सा, सितारों से आगे जहां और भी हैं, आप जो गुजरात में प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं, उससे लोगों को, वहाँ की ऑडियंस को, वहाँ के गवर्नमेंट के सिस्टम को और बाकी सिस्टम्स को क्या फ़ायदा है, और इसके अलावा और क्या सपना है?
ओके, सो जैसे आपने पहले जिक्र किया कि माइंडफुलनेस, सो आई नेवर commented on that, but the reason why so many organizations are incorporating mindfulness is to increase awareness, perception, these faculties which are very important for well-being. Now, with the Mothership Earth Summits, our whole intention is to increase awareness and to create platforms for real knowledge exchange, and knowledge exchange in the form of new generation, older generation, technologies, innovations, as well as cultural exchanges. So it's international. So we have people coming from US, from Europe, Asia, etc. So it creates a whole new possibility and potential for more innovation, more creativity, and more awareness, and also a deeper understanding of what we've already been doing and how beneficial that is or not. Is it redundant? Is it still relevant? And how it benefits us and our communities. That's the idea.
जो आपका गुजरात का प्रोग्राम है नेक्स्ट, उसके लिए मेरी शुभेच्छाएं। जो ऑडियंस सुन रहे हैं, इन सब्जेक्ट्स पर यदि आप एक्सप्लोर करें, आप पाएंगे कि ये भी क्रिएटिविटी की एक नेक्स्ट स्टेज है। जब क्रिएटिविटी में नई चीज़ें आती हैं तो दुनिया उसको समझने में थोड़ा सा टाइम ज़रूर लेती है, बट आई थिंक उसके बाद वो 1000 लाइट की स्पीड से लोग उसको एक्सेप्ट करना शुरू करते हैं। आई एम वेटिंग फॉर दैट मोमेंट। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे, डॉक्टर संगीता। इट वाज रियली लवली टॉकिंग टू यू। आई रियली एंजॉयड दिस होल कन्वर्सेशन एंड आई एम श्योर ऑडियंस हैज आल्सो एंजॉयड दिस कन्वर्सेशन। आई वुड लव टू मीट you again and have a conversation on a different topic. Till now, I would like to say thanks to you and thanks to your audience for watching us tonight.
Harendra ji, I thank you, and I thank your very, very important and wonderful audience for their attention.
Thank you.